Hello and welcome by JM Art. Guys, today we are going to just draw a three-dimensional sphere. So we're going to take a shape and turn it into a form. So before we start, I'm just first going to show you the materials that we have here. All of these are new. I haven't packed them yet. So let's quickly look what we're going to use for today. So for blending, this is a multi-purpose blending tool. These are paper stumps. I've got different sizes. There's size 3, size 4, size 1, size 6, and etc. If you don't have one of these paper stumps, a very nice alternative to use is just a Q-tip and a piece of tissue. So there are alternatives to use as well as to not only just the paper stumps. Now, the pencils that I'll be using today is called Color. These are the fine art graphic pencils, very nice packaging. And if we take them out, this is a standard set of graphite pencils. Okay, so we have in the package, it is a 2H, F pencil, HB, B pencil, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, 6B, 7B, 8B, and 9B. What I really do like about this set is that you have all the pencils from B to 9B. Some sets that you buy only has your like your 2B, 4B, and 6B. This set has all of them, and we'll be using all of them. Then we have our Kneaded eraser as well. Got a sharpener and a eraser. Now, the paper that I'll be using today is just normal sketching paper. This is from Prime Art, and I'll be using an A5. Now, this paper is very good if you want to use it for pen and ink, charcoal, graphite, or any dry type of media. So let's quickly get everything out of the packaging. There's the eraser, my Kneaded eraser. I'll be using all of these for today. And please don't forget to subscribe and like. If there's anything you guys want to see specifically, let me know down in the comments and we can create some content. Alright, so we have everything unboxed, all of it out. So we're going to start on our first page. So today we are going to make a shape into a form. So for those who don't know what a shape and a form is, a shape is 2-dimensional and a form is 3-dimensional. So we're going to take a very basic shape of a circle and make it 3-dimensional. We're going to turn the shape into a form. So first I'm going to start with my HB pencil. Now I like to start my drawings with an HB pencil just because it's easy to erase, it's a lighter pencil, and it's just easy to work with. Now when we start working with our shapes, don't worry if you don't get it right the very first time. That is why we have something called an eraser. We're able to erase and then also fix our mistakes. Okay, so we're going to start with circle. I also like to just move my paper around. It's easier for me than to try and move my hand around. I'm going to start with one. I can already see that my circle is not going to be round, but that's fine. We'll continue it and make it into a circle. So there we go. Now I've got that bit of a spiral. I'm going to use my eraser. And there we go. So we have our circle. If it doesn't look exactly like a circle, it's fine. You can also just fix it up. I see my side over here needs to be slightly more round. And it's okay. If your circle happens to not be exactly round, that's fine. Just add in the sides where it needs to be round, erase what you need to erase, fix it up. This is a very good practice for you just to figure out how to work with your pencils, how to erase, how to fix your mistakes. And guys, this is just a circle. It's very basic, and even a basic drawing we sometimes mess up that we need to erase and redo, and that's okay. You're allowed to mess up and you're allowed to just fix your mistakes. Okay, so very important now when we want to make this into a form. We want to add in some tone, and we also want to add in a cast shadow. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a horizontal line that's going to be next to the side. So there's going to be one on the right side. I'm not going to touch the circle, and continue it on the left side. So we can pretend that this is maybe a ball, or it can be a lemon or an apple or something that's a round object. And now for that a round object that's on the table. So now for adding in the more detail. So when we want to draw something realistic, we always have to consider where the light is coming from. We have a light source that we're working from. So let's pretend that the light source on this ball is coming from the left side. So on the left side, I'm going to draw just 3 lines. You don't have to do it. It's just to remind us that there is a light and it's going to be a cast shadow. So for the cast shadow, it's going to be on the opposite side of the light. Now, because our object's on a table, the cast shadow is not necessarily going to go over the table. So still with my HB pencil, I'm going to just draw this shape coming from the side and from the side as well, and then connect it at the bottom. There we go. Now that we have the light shining onto our form, we need to add in a light area. So we call that the reflection, where the light is reflecting on. So the light is going to reflect on the left side. So I'm going to add in a very small oval shape that I want to keep white. That's not going to be our reflection. So we're going to work on layers to build up. Firstly, I'm going to start with using the side of my pencil. Instead of coloring in the circle with the blade facing down, I'm going to use the side of it and then just lightly color in. Now you'll notice that I'm coloring in one direction and I don't go from right to left in big strokes. I always work in sections. This helps us to control our pencil, control the pressure that you're applying. So very important, consistency is also key. If you're coloring in at the same pressure, same way all the way down, it's going to look the same. So we want to go all the way down. If you're doing cross-hatching, you're welcome to do cross-hatching in here as well. This is when my lines are going different directions. Still, I want to keep that consistency. So again, I'm using the wood on the lid of my pencil. And we're just coloring in the circle all the way down. We'll make sure that we're coloring in the sides so that we can use a bit of cross-hatching here as well. Okay, so we have 2 options that we can use here now to smudge in. So smudging in is a technique in art that you can use either like a tissue or like the smudging tool to smudge it in. So if you use a tissue, it's very important that you use a small block. You fold it into half and half until you have a really small block like this to be able to smudge it in. So I'm just going to smudge in half to show you what it looks like with a tissue. Or you can use your blending tool, your smudger, the side. We don't use the tip for big details. We use the side so that it's easier to smudge in more. Okay, so I want to just go around in the circle, again using the side. Okay, now what happens also with the smudger is that it does become darker where you smudge in. I might have pressed a little bit harder on the side, but that's fine. How do I fix it? So you can by using either your smudging tool or your tissue to smudge in more. What I prefer to do over here is to use my tissue and then to just go in a circular movement to go over everything to make sure I blended it in, especially around my highlights, especially around my reflection here at the top, and just smudge it in. I still have that dark piece now, but we are working in layers, so the next pencil that I'm going to use is going to be my B pencil. So I'm going to go up from HB, B, 2B, 3B, and up so forth. So for B pencil, to create the circle effect, instead of coloring in everything again, we're going to start with lightly, very, very lightly, because we want to be able to smudge it in. Create a half circle that goes around, and then from this line I'm going to color in going down. You'll see that I'm going to color in a little bit here on the sides, going up. If I have that really light spot, I'm going to very lightly color in over that spot, and again, remember to work in sections to go down. I'm not going to color in much on my next one because I do have a dark piece. I'm going to go over the lighter area that's right next to it, and then just fill in the rest of the circle. Okay, again, up to you if you want to use your tissue or if you want to use a smudging tool. Let's use the smudging tool first. I'm actually going to use one that's slightly smaller, so I'm going to use my 5. And now when I smudge in, I'm going to go in small little circular movements, and I want to go over this line just to blend it in a bit more, to look more natural. Now you can place your finger here in the front to apply pressure going down. Now I'm just going to go around, up on the side, and basically just smudging it all in. If you want to add an extra touch, use your tissue, give it another smudging. Okay, and I'm just going to use my eraser to go around the circle just to make sure that it still stays neat. Okay, so now I'm going to use my 2B pencil. 2B pencil, what I want to do now is go a little bit higher here on the side. Again, I'm actually going to add in a little bit more 2B pencil, going over my dark pieces to blend it in a bit more. And I'm going to go just slightly lower to where my B pencil was. I'm going to color in just a little bit darker around this piece just to blend it in a bit more. Same with this one at the top. It's very dark at the moment, so by just coloring it around it, adding in a bit more just to give it more of a blend from the tones. So there's an equal blend of the tones. Okay. I'm going to just straight now use my tissue. Remember to always fold over to a clean side on your tissue. Okay, so I'm just controlling lightly going over. The smudging tools work very well for fine details. I prefer using something like a tissue that's more flat, just to smudge in around. I still have the 2 darker lines, but now as I'm going to go to a darker pencil, I'll be able to blend them in even more. The reasons why this might happen, it can be because I drew my line there and I erased. It can be because I pressed too hard there. It can maybe be the type of paper. There's many reasons to why it can also happen. And as soon as I'm done with my 2B pencil, I'm going to take my 3B pencil and I'm going to go even down. And now I'm going to go even lower with my 3B pencil. Lower than where I was with my 2B. This is also where it's going to work in very well with those dark section, dark lines now with the 3B pencil. Okay, I'm also using a mixture of some cross-hatching here. Going up on the sides. The reason why I'm going up on the sides to give it that round effect, so that it's darker on the sides and leaning in, so that round effect. Okay, again, I'm just going to use my tissue here. Tissue is just easier to blend it in with, to not create any blotches. That's what happens with when we use the smudging tool. Okay, so I'm just going in light little circle movements. Okay, so I'm going to use my eraser at the end again just to clean up. For now, we'll just leave it as it is. So I've used my 3B pencil, now it's time for the 4B pencil, and now the 4B, I'm going to go a little bit lower again, a little bit darker here on the side, and this side. And I can take the 4B from about here. And I just want to color in going down. Tissue again, make sure it's a clean side, just flip it over. So this is completely up to you if you're wanting to use your smudging tool or your tissue. I personally enjoy using a tissue with more flat objects like this, where there's not so many details. But when we draw faces or details on a face, that's when we start using the smudging tool, because if you get into those really fine spaces where you can smudge in and give details, it works phenomenal. And there will be some videos I posted about how to draw an eye realistically and how to draw any types of facial features realistically. Remember to post in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see specific, something you'd like to learn how to draw. So let me know what you guys are interested in. I'm now going to take a clean side of my tissue again, flip it over, and just go carefully around or even slightly on my highlight, and that's okay. I'm now going to just use my eraser and carefully erase around the circle. Okay, now my circle is slightly clean. I'm now going to just take my 2H pencil and carefully go along the side of my circle, and I'm going to very lightly color in my circle. So around the outside, by the outline. Okay, let's just to define it a little bit. I'm not done with the 2H just yet. I'm going to put it down, but I'm first going to use my 5B pencil. So now to make it slightly different, we're going to leave the bottom lighter, and just in the middle around here, we're going to add in a darker shadow going around the circle with our 5B pencil. I'm going to start from here, and I want to go down and across. Still using just about the side of my lid, going up on the sides a little bit. I'm going to go back to my tissue. So like this side, and I'm just going to smudge in what I've added in. You can move it around, you can go in little circular movements. Okay, and if you want to, and if you've gone on the side again, just clean up with your eraser. Okay, and there we go. So as a final touch, we're going to use our 2H pencil again, and now just very lightly color in over the circle. You can use your cross hatching. You know, just one last thing with our highlight. I'm going to take my kneaded eraser. I'm going to flatten a small piece. So that small piece that I flattened, I'm just going to take it and dab it to make it stand out more. So we want to see the contrast between the reflection and the shadow that is on the circle. So now moving down to the cast shadow to give it more of a three-dimensional form, we're going to start immediately with a darker pencil. If you don't have a 9B pencil, you can maybe start with your 8B, 7B, whatever you have as your darkest. So I'm going to start by first outlining this bottom part of the sphere. I am pressing harder to make it a dark line. Now, still busy with my 9B pencil, I'm going to just color in a little bit right next to the circle. If you see that you might have changed the shape a little bit, it's fine. I'm just going to create it more into a circle, make it more equal. There we go. Okay, so I'm coloring in a small section next to it. I'm going to extend that line a little bit up there. Okay, and that's the amount I'm coloring in with my 9B. I'm then going to go to my 8B pencil, so we're moving down the list now from 9B, 8B, 7B, 6B, etc. Okay, I'm going to 6B. Now I'm going to 5B. Now I'm starting to use the side of my pencil so it becomes slightly lighter. Four B. 3B. And this is where we're going to stop with the shadow. So I'm going to fold it over again with a clean piece. I'm first going to start over the 8B, 9B, and then I'm basically going to use my tissue to color in the cast shadow. Okay, add on a little bit on the side. If you feel like you went over a bit too much and you don't like it, that's again, guys, is why we have an eraser. Just erase on the side. And there we have it. So there we have a sphere. So guys, thank you very much for watching and let me know what you guys like to see next. Have a great day.